Synergetic Journal, April 9 through 10, 2026. The grand strategy of integrating analogically functioning acronyms. It is never immediately recognized which species on Earth is the most dangerous as a predatory annihilator of its own kind, that for irrationally cultivated reason can cause its own extinction, while not intelligently depending only on trial and error explored survival stratagems. However, in order to accurately identify this disturbingly guaranteed extinction that corresponds with assuring mutual destruction, the human mind's metaphysical intellect as a function of the eternal omniscient mind's omnirational universe apparently is directed by this supreme intelligence to observe the reenacting articulations, finding in the ongoing researching process an innate ability to conceptualize the essential topologies and geometries that in principle cannot be changed, since their energy patterning integrities are synergetically and eternally conserved, being neither created nor ever lost in universe, correlating to essential conceptualities and manifestations of the constant relative abundance. More enlightened humans on Earth can now surmise that apparently every age produces many an inquisitive genius, each of whom may well be inclined with a self-determination to discover by trial and error experimental proclivity unique to the individual's integral design curiosity that nevertheless is not spared its own reactions resulting from the world's fear-engendered agonies. The inherited predatory aspects as fibers, threads, and strands are interwoven throughout the universal communication process by its own species, needs not be deterred from survival challenges accordingly to one's particularly unique objectives, which cosmologically refuse to succumb to the ingrained ignorance of the predatory strains. Predatory strains, time and time again, resurface, arising from the self-deluding depths of false premised ambitions that eventually can be categorized within a contextual parameters easily recognized acronyms, which in this case is the PRJMWBSHM. The acronym stands for politics, religion, justice, military, war, belief system, hierarchical, matrix. Having a contextual matrix in mind for explorations in the geometry of thinking provides a potential rebirth systems clarification, as does the hierarchical stipulation, without which it would be impossible to cosmologically associate any omnicomprehensive degree of clarity respecting interrelationships between universes, always and only coexisting complementarities which are closely associated with inducing the essential degrees of freedom and lag rates between apprehending and comprehending during the anticipatory mind's metaphysical generalized conceptioning fields of thought, corresponding with recognizing the importance of differentiating human events from energy events in generalization principle. Human events are among the non-identically repetitive, irreversible, self-regenerating process experiences, intuitions, speculations, experiments, discoveries, productions, EISEDP, that now can be more successfully acknowledged for accomplishing our 21st century's omni-rational humanities grand strategy objective than before. Our consciousness, evolution, self-regenerating, patterning, integrity, awareness knew of it. Is the grand strategy possibly for the individual, systemic thought, synergetically informed, anticipatory design, science, realizable knowledge, to succeed with awareness of the eternal, omniscient mind, Yom, having integrally designed our humanity's omni-rational coexistence explicitly as an evolving species, intending us eventually to manifest the absolute accommodation network of energy articulation, AAANOEA, synchronously with metaphysical intellects, generalized conceptioning fields of thought concerning truth, love, beauty, symmetry, wisdom, maximum economy, TLBSWME, analytically, analogically, interpretively, functioning advantage thus over previous generations by adjusting the a priori thought to a total reality of universal principles in support of its integrity and all life on earth. Since life is metaphysical, logically, we can question whether it is wisest or unwise to support all that is physical once our intelligent species differentiates the physical from the metaphysical, thereby sparing us the irresolute defeating quandaries, especially when the terrorists on earth conceal their obsessive death-worshipping addictions within any of the historically rationalized and justified PRJMWBSHM power plays. Life is metaphysical, as it vanishes at the moment of death when no weight is lost and only the physical chemistries remain, as clarified by the planet's friendly genius Buckminster Fuller to our grateful ascertainment. Support of all life in truth can only be as the human observer's information gathering proclivity recognizes the difference between time and timelessness, physical special case size and the metaphysical sizeless eternal. As a self-other validation, integrally identifying potentials of the metaphysical and physical universe correlatively with one's own cosmic to local problem-solving aptitudes. This can only be subsequent to learning of universe's isotropic vector matrix operational field cosmic hierarchy, UIVMOFCH, correlatively with an innate cognitive ability to tune into the lowest or highest potential magnification in energy fields once informed of the modification of angles and frequencies, which happen to be the only two possible covariables that are operatives in all universe design, thereby superseding obsolete purely imaginary PRJMWBSHM as we conceptually bridge chasms between science and the humanities, emotionally exhausted by the weight of our inherited convictions. We can easily remember that the PRJMWBSHM acronym stands for politics, religion, justice, military, war, belief system, hierarchical matrix, without also having to perpetuate illogical defenses and offenses by reenacting those self-deluding mindsets, despite superficially making some headway during any phase, stage, and proclivity, while adjusting to nature's obsoleteable misgivings as integral functions of our humanity's consciousness evolution. Throughout every age, humans have always been confronted by usurping tribes and nomads that require placation from the power of our wealth, and in that process apparently cultivated underhanded, surreptitious, deviant oppositions to the life we value, that neither self nor the other accurately identifying metaphysical as the weightless eternal life, giving rises in this ignorance to the perniciously persuasive enmity state to be bought off but never eliminated, as it arises time and time again for its just rewards, learning over centuries how the strategy works, while all sides amass more and more followers, building larger tribes, invading hordes as we fool each other about what life is, as if it is supposed to be the opposite of death. The dichotomy is inaccurate to begin with, and potentially clarified once we are accurately informed that the metaphysical reorders the physical. It is not the other way around. Clarification is made. Any compromise will just be another aspect of the delusional values that lack generalized conceptioning and equanimity model of the eternal omniscient mind's omni-rational universe. Aspects result in cases, whether in the most arid desert or on the rain-abundant plains of North America, contemplating programming languages, aware or unaware of the basic unit of time. Everyone on Earth is in universe, which is both metaphysical and physical. U equal MP. We can never get out of universe. Each of us is cerebrally equipped with a circuitry-designed information gathering, sorting, memory storing, special case event neuronal networking system, and a mind's conceptuality of the environment's minimum structural systems, finite packages as energy quanta, correlating to awareness of energy, associating as matter and disassociating as radiation. We have evolved far beyond those tribes and clans and offerings to defeat and placate the invading hordes, with an innate ability beyond those slave mentality game plans, in a race against time unlike previous generations, to learn of the most economic individual initiatives as the eternal omniscient mind's ultimate rewards of ephemeralization that does more with fewer ergs of energy per performed task, way past the discovery of oil, and our adapting to the forms of it for our survival. Some of us are in the process of realizing this is what we ought to be focused on now, mindfully aware of the AAA, NOEA, and UIVMOFCH, albeit in the most rudimentary adaptations, in order to usher in the synergetic age. Presently, humans of every conceivable mind, including consciousness evolution's eternal omni-rational mind, are observing the process of annihilating the terrorist mindsets and their slave mentality conditioning from the earth. For decades, various regimes have funded terrorists as they have directly and inadvertently perpetuated death threats and reenacting explosive articulations, while together both financiers and their menacing counterparts increase the tolerance magnitudes, enabling its intercooperating residual inaccuracies of observation and articulation to continue devastating any manifest form of government, including newly forming regimes, before clarifying the inherited contextual parameters, falsest premised power attributions. Delusions of it are especially troublesome concerning mindless money-making default settings that always omit omnidirectional, omni-rational, omni-considerate universe, while deluding self-integrating accumulations where more is never enough, as less and less are left to suffice for the most deprived populations, regardless to what extremes the asset hoarding mindsets resort, be it accumulating more conquerable or purchased land, more loss of human capital as disposable collateral during warring, and utter indifference to the relative insanity that manifests such results without factorizing every consequential factor nature correlative to regenerating our own species, because we ignorantly have cultivated those extremely dangerous environments for any newborn's healthiest, happiest, harmonious survival. Thank you. Gratefully, faithfully, eternally, Christina Herlufsen. Contact herlufsencristina@gmail.com.